Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Someone Scott Selections here for Saturday, September 4th. Before we get into today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened. So we pick up a loss with the Phillies team total over 4.5 runs at plus 120 on BetMGM. Phillies got off to a hot start at 2 runs in the first 2 innings, and then the offense completely fell apart. The Phillies scored 1 run in the final 7 innings and ended up only scoring 3. Luzardo battled. He wasn't really great, but he got it together late. Phillies had a bunch of guys on base and in scoring position pretty much every inning, and unfortunately, were not able to really drive anyone home. So pick the loss, but look for a bounce back winner here on Saturday. And for the play of the day, we're looking at college football because it is college football Saturday, and it's going to be a late game between New Mexico State and San Diego State, taking place at around 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. And for the play of the day, we like San Diego State first half minus 20 at minus 110 on DraftKings. Time recording of 3 a.m. Eastern time. Couple reasons why I like San Diego State in this spot. First of all, I mentioned this when we ended up doing the conference breakdowns on the radio show. For the independents, I said that New Mexico State might be the worst FBS team in the entire country. And in the first game of the season, the Aggies definitely looked like it because they only had 190 total yards of offense against the UTEP. Now, UTEP, if you remember them from last year, they weren't good on offense or on defense. And yet New Mexico State couldn't move the ball and ended up losing the game 30-3. Now, San Diego State's defense is a lot better than that UTEP team. The Aztecs last year ranked top 2 in the nation in yards allowed per game. Now, of course, San Diego State did lose a couple of pieces, and they're going to have to replace those. But the point is that if New Mexico State couldn't move the ball against UTEP, they're not going to be able to move the ball against San Diego State, and I think they'll also be forced into committing a couple of turnovers. San Diego State has a good pass rush. They have a pretty good, just aggressive style of play defensively. And I think New Mexico State's going to look like a deer in the headlights for the entire first half. Do I think that the Aggies are going to score in the first half? No, unless you get some awful turnover by the Aztecs in their own territory. I don't really see New Mexico State having more than 2 first downs on a given possession for at least the first 30 minutes. Meanwhile, looking at the offense for San Diego State, is this team's offense any good? Not really, and that was the flaw for the Aztecs last year. However, they do have a really good ground game and a really good offensive line, and Greg Bell is back after getting injured midway through last season. He had 4 straight 100-plus yard rushing games, and then he ended up getting injured, missed the last couple of games there, and the Aztec season fell apart. But the point is that New Mexico State gave up 452 total yards to UTEP, including 203 rushing yards. Now, look up the numbers for UTEP last year. They were not good at running the ball. So the point that I'm trying to make is that San Diego State should be able to run the ball down their throats. They can kind of treat this game like they were Army or Navy, run the ball every play, and they'll probably score at least 28 points. The way that I look at it is that if you think New Mexico State's not going to score in the first 30 minutes, which is what I think, do I think San Diego State can score at least 3 touchdowns in the first 2 quarters at home in the season opener? And the answer is yes. I think San Diego State's going to be able to break a couple of big runs, maybe even some play-action passes. They finally have somebody else besides Baker throwing the ball, thank God, because Carson Baker was one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen. I think San Diego State should be able to move the ball pretty easily. They might get into a couple of 3rd and shorts, but they'll just power through with the great offensive line that they have. And I think you'll eventually see Bell probably have 100 yards in the first half, rushing a couple touchdowns there. And I think you'll see a lot of San Diego State just endless pressure defensively and just endless ground game attack. I think San Diego State should be leading 21-0, 28-0, maybe even 35-0 if you get a strip sack fumble or a pick six, something like that. But the point is, minus 20, too low. I'll fade New Mexico State all season long. This team stinks. And the Aztecs weren't great last year, but they're good enough in order to win this game handily, especially in the first 30 minutes. The play that I once again here for Saturday, September 4th, is going to be on the San Diego State Aztecs first half minus 20 at minus 110 on DraftKings. Bye, everyone.